What's up, guys? Welcome back to It's Me Tinx Live, exclusively on Radio Andy, Channel 102. As always, this is our weekly time to talk to each other with a live Ask Me Anything. I want to talk to all of you right now, so call me. It's 844-305-2639. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. How are we all feeling? I'm riding the wave of a hangover. I had drinks with my friends last night, and we had a short amount of time because I had to go to a dinner after, so we drank 2 martinis in 45 minutes, and that really set me off for the night. And then I went to my friend Sarah's book party. You know, she's been on the pod, Sarah Hoover, The Motherlode. Fantastic read. Give it a whirl if you dare. And she's had a party at Lucky's in Soho. It's a steakhouse that they have in Malibu and in Santa Barbara, and now they have one in Soho in New York. And I actually met the woman whose parents founded it. And if you have been following me for a while, you know one of my favorite things to do is to go to Santa Barbara and to drink martinis at Lucky's. It's fabulous. So now they have one in Soho, and she was really sweet. Her name was also Sarah, unless I was wasted. But yeah, proud of both Sarahs. And it was a pajama party, so we all wore pajamas, which wasn't that chill for me when I was going to the Bowery Hotel to have drinks with my other friends, but I wore a trench coat over it, and I kind of looked like I was doing some sort of a costume because I was like wearing pajamas under a trench coat, and it just looked, and heels, of course, had to wear heels, so just a little bizarre, but it was a fun night. And then I got home and I watched White Lotus. I don't know, guys. I don't know about that episode. That made me feel really uncomfortable. I mean, it was definitely a good episode, but holy shit, do you think that they just sit around in HBO and they go, all right, how are we going to make people feel really uncomfortable this season? And they just work backwards. One guy's like incest, and then they're like, yeah, let's work backwards from that. Like, that's kind of what I think that they've done. But by the way, it's working. I'm captivated. If not a little uncomfortable. What do we do this weekend? We went to Miami. It was so fun. We went with our new friends, and I'm happy to say that our new friends, Steph and Pat, passed the test of traveling together. We traveled with them, and we still like them, which is huge because if you can travel with people, that's when you know you're going to actually be friends. So we had a really fun time. I really, really needed that trip. I really needed to be silly and laugh and goof around and just, be silly. It's fun to just dick around. And I keep complaining about being tired, and my mom is like, that's because every time you get a day to chill, you party and you rage. And I'm like, but that fills my cup, and I need that. If it was between fun and sleep, I'd always pick fun, but I do need to sleep sometime soon. I'm going to sleep tonight. I need to really badly. I need to catch up on my shows. I'm going to do Red Light Mask and all the housewife shows. Also, I've just seen this advertisement for this new show, Love Hotel, on Bravo, and it looks unreal. Like, I haven't seen a promo like that where I'm like, wait, I'm really into this. It's Shannon Bedore. Who else is it? It looks like, I think
it's Ashley from Potomac.
Yeah, and maybe Luann. And they're all in some hotel. It's kind of like, it looks like The Bachelor on crack, but Bravo style, which is my dream because I only ever want to be in the Bravo verse.
Oh, and Giselle.
Oh, Giselle. I actually love Giselle. I think she's a fantastic housewife.
She's a Mount Rushmore housewife
for
me.
I agree.
Personally.
I agree. So that's really good. That'll be really funny. I can't wait to see all those ladies do some dating. That's very interesting. Speaking of dating, can I just say, maybe from personal experience, maybe not, do you know how hard it is to just even set aside finding the love of your life? It is actually very difficult to even find anybody that you want to have casual sex with these days. And I just am really, I've honestly had it. Like, I've had it up to here. There was another article that everybody sent me, I believe in the Wall Street Journal, about American women giving up on marriage. And I agreed with everything in the article, but I'm getting a little bit sick of the framing. Like, the framing of all these articles is like, wow, women are outperforming men, women are buying more homes, And I'm like, why are you phrasing it in slightly negative ways if we're stealing the market share? Can we have an article that's like, men, stop being so useless and broke and not hot. Like, fix yourselves because we're literally like out here flailing. Do something about it. Seriously. I don't know. I feel like even when it's trying to spin it in a positive way, the article is called American Women Are Giving Up on Marriage by Rachel Wolf. And oh my God, I went to college with a Rachel Wolf. I wonder if it's her. Because the funny thing about this article was that I was scrolling through it and there was a girl from Stanford in it. So, no, that's not her, but you never know. There's a lot of Rachel Wolves. Anyway, I was scrolling through this article in the Wall Street Journal, and there was a girl from Stanford, and I was like, oh, I know her. She was in my sorority, I think, a couple years younger, but she basically was saying how she went on millions of dates trying to really be aggressive about it, and she couldn't find anyone that wasn't turned off by her ambition, which is obviously something I really relate to. So, yeah, anyway, give it a read. Listen, it wasn't negative about women at all. I just think that the way we speak, the words you speak become the house you live in. And I just feel like the framing of all of this conversation is just slightly skewed negative. First of all, we should be super celebratory. But I think, like, going back to a point Scott Galloway always says, which is like, still to this day, men's success is based on their financial status and women's success is based on their romantic status. And I think because of that, we're not able to fully embrace these statistics, which are basically illustrating that women are leaps and bounds ahead of men in every dimension. And look, I'm not negating the fact that a lot of women still want love. Like, a lot of women who listen to this show are like, Tinx, like, I own my home, I'm a badass, all this good shit. I still want someone to watch TV with. And I get that. But I just think that the framing of a lot of these, like, well, why are women giving up on marriage? It's like, because there's no one to fucking marry. There's literally no one. Why don't you make an article to say, what are we going to do to help men stop being so bloody useless? And so that, because women want to marry them. And also, the worst is like when you get on the wrong side of TikTok and there's all these things being like, all the traditional women are gone. You know, like, bring back like females being females. And I'm like, why don't you make more money and be chivalrous and open the car door and not be so threatened by us? That's masculine, by the way. That's masculine to not be threatened by a woman who's doing a lot and going on. It's masculine to say, oh, you know, I'm so proud of you. I think that's awesome and sexy. And like, I'm not threatened. That's the most masculine person I know, is a guy who is not threatened by that. If you're threatened by it, well, then that's not very alpha, is it, big dog? Okay. Quite the opening. Jesus Christ, you wouldn't think I got 3 hours of sleep. Let's go to Sarah. Hey, Sarah, what's up?
Hi, Tinx.
Hey, what's going on?
Hi, I have two things to say before I get into it.
Yeah.
One is I love your shoes today.
How cute are my shoes? Shout out to my angel Amber who got them for me. I'm wearing the cow print Sambas, and they're already sold out on ASOS, you guys. I'm so sorry, but they're like the limited edition. I'm sorry. After I've been on my fucking high horse about no trends, me on Instagram lately, guys, let's not include ourselves in micro trends. So cool to be original, whatever. I see one cow print thing, I'm like, I'm gonna die if I don't have those fucking sneakers. But anyway, carry on. Thank you. I love them too.
So cute. And then the second thing is I listened to Sarah Hoover's book. It was amazing.
Oh, it's good, right? Yeah, she's amazing.
I would like have it on in the car. I would listen as I was doing my makeup, and my boyfriend actually caught some glimpses of it, and I think that was very humbling for him, and I highly recommend people make their boyfriends listen to it.
Wow, I love that he was open to it. That's honestly awesome. That's really cool. Yeah. I think it is important for men to understand, like, even just the hormonal changes that women go through when they have a baby, and like how difficult and isolating it can be mentally. So again, guys, that's The Mother Lode by my friend Sarah Hoover. Check it out or listen to the pod that she's on. But anyway, thank you for that. What's going on in your life? What's happening?
Yes, I need to get into it. So I have a new job, and everyone hugs, and I'm freaking out about it. Hellos, goodbyes.
What do you mean?
Really
like
intense.
Every day?
Every day. Every single day. It's
I don't
so
like
ingrained in the culture. It's like everyone from folks that report to me to directors to even people, I think, in HR. So I'm like, who do I go to?
That is so bizarre. I am really not a hugger, so I understand the panic. Like, I'm a touchy-feely person with my people, but if I meet a random person, I ain't going for the hug. That's wild. That's bananas. So your direct report hugs you. I'm pretty sure that is an HR violation.
Yeah. So I think the problem is like they're younger, so they don't know any better. They're learning from like the higher ups. Sometimes it's like their first job. And I think that at first too, I would say like, I thought, oh my God, everyone's so friendly. This is nice. But it doesn't stop. It's all the time. And I'm like, I just saw you yesterday. I don't miss you yet.
Yeah, that's bananas. That's like so weird to me. But I don't really know what she can do, guys. Because if it's in the culture, I feel like if she says, guys, I love you, but I'm not a hugger, like I feel like that might cause some drama, no?
It would absolutely cause drama. But like as somebody that manages a team, if somebody tried to hug me.
No, it's it's mentally ill.
Me and you have known each other for 3 years. We've never
hugged.
We've never hugged. I don't.
No. We're colleagues.
Yeah.
I would
Thank you.
never hug my colleagues. And also, you want to know what's funny, guys? I don't hug Lauren. Lauren and I don't hug, which is just.
Of course you don't.
Because it's just like weird. Like I'm pretty sure she's put on a thong for me before when I was really drunk in Vegas, but hug is beyond. That's beyond the pale. We would never hug.
It's really uncomfortable, and I'm trying to take a stance against it. It's like people will walk in the door, and I stay seated, and I don't get up, but then they still come over to me and approach me for the hug, and I don't know what to do.
I just feel like if you say something is going to be such a big deal, like, I mean, I'm wondering what I would do in that situation. I would just get annoyed because also, like, it's against my personality to do, like, weird frivolous shit like that. Like, what do you mean we have to hug every day? Like, as you said, I saw you yesterday. Like, we don't need to do that. It's just like it's the physical version of small talk, which is why I hate it, because I'm like, get to the point. Like, you know what I mean? It's so random. Wait, can you tell us, like, you don't have to tell us your company name obviously, but like what industry are you in?
It's like a very large corporation.
What? I genuinely
that's why
thought
it's even more shocking.
I thought you were gonna say like, oh, I work for a very successful like pet startup or something that was like kind of like touchy-feely anyway, or kind of like, I don't know, a new company. But a big corporation is crazy.
It's crazy, especially because I just had to take all the new hire onboarding, like HR things, and they specifically say do not touch.
Weird.
Like, you guys are breaking all the rules here. I feel like I'm in a sitcom.
Yeah.
I don't know how to get out of this situation.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I feel like Steve is suggesting that you do dead fish hugs, like let your body language speaks for itself, like really don't hug them back. But I feel like that's more passive aggressive. Like, I feel like if anything, she should just say, like, guys, like when most of your team is in the room, being like, okay, guys, I need to say something, like, I'm actually really not a hugger, like, so just need to set that boundary. Like, I just don't want to hug anymore, which they probably bitch about you behind your back, but then at least you wouldn't have to hug them anymore. I mean, I would probably say that, but like, I have a horrible personality, so I don't really know.
I think that's actually a good idea. Like, maybe I can just make it a joke and be like, wow, you guys love to hug. Like, not for me. Yeah,
because I think, like, one thing about Gen Z is they are annoying. But the second thing about them is at least they try to respect boundaries. So if you're like, I'm not about that, they'll be like, okay, yeah, I need to respect that. That's fair. They're not like boomers who just force you to do whatever they want.
Okay, I'm going to try to work on that today.
Yeah, I think try it, because otherwise you're going to be hugging these people over the next 2 years, and you're going to look back and be like, what the fuck was that time in my life? That's really bizarre.
Yeah, it's so extra. Okay, well, thank you.
Thank
you.
The
validation was everything.
Thank you for calling. That was a really funny start to the show, and good luck. I'm thinking of you as a non-hugger myself.
Thank you.
Bye, babe.
Okay. Love you. Bye.
Love ya. Bye. That's nuts. Yeah, sometimes hugging makes me really uncomfortable, and I'm like here to say it. Here's the crazy part. My love language is actually touch when I'm in a relationship, so it's not that I'm some freak who doesn't like touch. I just find the casualization of hugging bizarre. It doesn't feel good. It feels stressful. I have no idea where to put my crotch. I have no idea where to put my arms. It makes me feel weird. I'm sorry. I have like this is really random, guys, but I have a really big phobia of like lice. And I'm not saying that anyone I hug would ever have lice, but like, I don't really want to like touch heads with anyone. It's just too intimate. Okay. It's too intimate. I prefer nothing, or like a wave or something when you meet someone, or if they're new, you shake their hand. Fine. That's normal. But I kind of like the air kiss that the Europeans do, because you don't have to get too close. And what the best part about being in Europe is it's completely standardized. So no matter where you are, no matter who you're seeing, you're going to do a kiss on each cheek, or maybe for, if you're in France and you're extra, whatever. But that's it. That's the standard greeting for everyone. Not these, also, like, have you ever watched two people hug who don't really want to be hugging each other? It's painful. It's fucking painful. And we've now done this thing, and it just is awful, because it's taken something that is really nice. Like, when you need a hug from a person that you love, it's the best feeling in the world. But when you don't, it actually feels like claustrophobia. Like, I really don't like it. Okay, let's chat to Katie. Katie. Hi, Katie. How are you?
Hi, Tinx. How are you?
I'm good. What's going on? Thanks for calling.
Thanks for having me. So my dilemma is that my boyfriend that I've been with for about 8 months now, and everything is like amazing, best relationship that I've been in. He's like amazing to me.
Yeah.
But his political views are like very different than mine, like completely opposite almost. He did vote for Trump, and I knew that we talked about it when voting was happening, and we both knew that we were kind of on the opposite sides.
Yeah.
I did clarify a couple things, like just making sure you believe in climate change, and that you're like if we had to get an abortion, like you'd be okay with that. And he said he was. And so I think like at the time that was like a way for me to kind of let it go for a little bit. But I think as we're getting deeper into the relationship, it's just like bothering me more because I care a lot about all the issues that are happening in the U.S. right now, and it distresses me a lot, especially as I'm like doom scrolling on TikTok, which I need to not do as much. But I feel like he just like either doesn't care or like doesn't. I mean, he's like said that he likes Trump before.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's like up to date with everything that's going on, but
yeah,
I don't know. It just makes me feel so icky, but at the same time, everything in the relationship is so good.
Yeah,
I just like don't really, and I don't want to leave him only because the other complication is that we're actually traveling together because we're both like digital nomads, and so I'm like internationally traveling with him for like the next like whatever months, and so I don't really want to like break up with him and then like have to travel on my own.
I
and
get
it's
that.
like easier to travel with someone, so I'm like, okay, I have to deal with it, but I just like don't really know how to wrap my head around being so opposite on something so important.
Yeah. How old are you, just out of interest?
I'm 28.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is really tricky. This is really tricky, and I don't have like a direct answer, so I'm going to let's talk through it together. So there's a lot of people out there who would say, if you guys don't feel exactly the same, you need to break up with him right now. I understand that it's more complicated for you than that, and I completely get that. Like, I think that's so normal. You're into this man, you have a good time with him, and it's really hard when you like quote like know someone is a good person, but then they have these views. Like that's a confusing situation to be in, because he treats you well, he's nice, he believes in abortion, but on the other hand, I too feel so disgusted and like I feel enraged by every time I look at the news, every time I look at anything that this administration has done. It feels like an attack. But I also know people who voted for Trump, and I haven't cut them out of my life. So look, I don't think that you should marry this guy, because I do think that being politically aligned is super important for a couple's success. I actually really do believe that. I think it's, especially in today's day and age, you need to be on the same page about what's going on. So I guess my advice, is that bad advice to just enjoy the rest of your trip and then dump him as soon as you get back? I don't know. I mean,
I don't know either.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, I've talked about it with him before, and there's like, I think the moment when I realized like how deep it was, like I knew that he voted for Trump, and I'm similar in that. Honestly, my entire family voted for Trump actually, so I'm very used to having people that I like love and know in my life are good people, but are on that side. So it's not like necessarily a situation for me, but I guess it's different when it comes to like the romantic partner. So we had a conversation, and I was like very upset by it, but he just kind of was like talking about it objectively and was like, I appreciate that you have different political like views as me, and it doesn't like change my opinion of you. He was like very level-headed, and I was like the one that was like crying and upset.
Well, in a way, that's good to be level-headed and not emotional about it. But in a way, I'm also like, I wish that he was more open. I wish that he was like, well, explain to me why you feel that way, or explain this or that. Like, the fact that he's just kind of set in his ways is even more evidence that like, I don't think this is your long-term person. But like, look, you're on a trip, like you're enjoying yourself. You've got a couple more months. I think check in with yourself at the end of the trip. I don't know. Are people going to say that that's, I don't know. I think that that's probably what I would do. I don't think it's like fake to carry on. I mean, you guys spoken about marriage or like for future plans or anything like that?
We're actually kind of both on that page where like, I'm personally not super like interested in marriage. Like if it happens, that's great, but I also don't need it, and I also don't want kids.
Okay, so then you're good. Yeah. So yeah. Even more so then, I think just enjoy your trip and check in with yourself. Like when at the end, I totally hear you. I think because I get that.
That makes sense. Yeah, it's just, I think it's hard also because I like am so entrenched with this family already, and like it feels very incorporated. I don't know. It's just
hard.
I think it adds so much complexity.
No, it does. And also like you like him. It's just really hard to get past it. And every time something comes up, in the news, like even the thing that happened this week, war plans being blasted on an unclassified messaging service, and there's still people on the right who are like, oh, well, it wasn't that big a fuck up. And I'm like, if you are at the point where you're trying to defend Hegseth and you're trying to defend what happened, then there's no point in even discussing it. There's no point in even discussing it because you're so brainwashed by that, like, administration. That's insane to me. So I get it. I get very heated. I was arguing with someone in my DMs this morning because she was like, you don't get it. Like, Trump is saving us all. And I was like, I went off, and it's emotional. Like, we're living in really, really dark times. It is emotional. People's Social Security is going to get cut. Like this, it is a big deal, and these issues are very real. And the abortion is a very real issue that we deal with every day. So it's okay if you get upset and frustrated. And if he's so level-headed, I'm just thinking about this now. Maybe that's because, like, is he white? So he's like a white straight man, right? Well, he's not going to be affected by.
He's actually not white, which is also crazy.
Okay, well, that's even crazier. But, he's a man, and he's not going to be like more affected by a lot of these, policies. So I don't know. I think enjoy your trip. Check in with yourself at the end. It's good to know you don't want kids and that you don't care about marriage, because then it doesn't feel like, the dreaded timeline. Oh God, what are you going to do? You're having fun. And if you're okay with it at this point, then you're okay with it at this point.
Okay, that makes me feel better. I had some friends who were kind of like deal breaker viewpoints on this, and I was like, am I a bad person for just like going with it?
You're not a bad person. We're living in really strange times. Everybody's navigating it as best they can, and anybody who, claims to have cut everybody else out from the other side, I don't know if I believe that. Like, I mean, look, some people don't have the luxury to not cut people out because of who they are and certain marginalized groups that they fall into, and I understand that, and I hear that, but I think for the most part, people are just trying to navigate this next 4 years as best they can. So I don't think you're doing anything wrong.
Okay, that is super helpful, and I really appreciate that. And I also just really appreciate you using your voice to speak out on these issues, because it means a lot to me, and I'm sure a lot of the other listeners out there. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks for calling, babe. Lots of love. Enjoy your trip, okay? You deserve
Thank
it.
you.
Bye. The girl in my DMs this morning, I was really frustrated because the language she was using was like, you don't understand, like, Trump cares about us. And I'm like, when I was in Florida, I went to go see my grandma in Naples. She's 94, and she was like, I'm just so nervous. I don't even want to live anymore because my Social Security might get cut, and I don't know how I'm gonna do it. And I have a severely disabled uncle. I think I've told you guys that before, but he gets Medicaid, and they both rely on those checks. And I don't, there's a point where you just don't know what to say if you are so delusional to think that these billionaires are sitting there thinking about, people who live paycheck to paycheck, people who rely on Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid. Like, they don't give a fucking shit. They don't give a shit. This grand economic plan, like, how's that going for us? Like, I'm not even a numbers gal, but I sure know the stock market isn't doing that great. So, it is emotional. Politics is emotional. We are living in this heightened time where everything feels super personal, and we all have to find where we stand on things. We all have to find our level of comfort with people who voted differently for us. I'm constantly finding that line, Like I said, I have people who vote in my life who voted for Trump. And it is difficult for me when I have those conversations with my grandmother and, like, I feel heartbroken, or, I see other stories on the news. Like, it is difficult, but we're all doing our best. And I think that the last thing we need to do is judge other people and say, oh, you didn't dump your Republican boyfriend. Like, I just don't know if that's that helpful at this point. So, and also one thing I will say is I know for a fucking fact that the Republicans aren't doing that. So that's just something else I want to point out. They don't fight against each other, which is why they're doing so well right now. They don't sit throwing stones at each other saying, oh, well, your boyfriend isn't like a full Republican. Like, they've got their eyes on the prize. They're in the fucking road to whatever. So, they don't do that. So why don't we all try to stop being so nitpicky with each other and just focus on actually winning something for once, or doing something good. Anyway, I got to go to break because I'm babbling. I'll be back in right away. So if you're on the line, stay on the line.